Thank you, Ramola. I would be grateful and privileged in welcoming Mrs. Renuka Krishna. Ma'am has done her graduation from University of Madras and has completed her post-graduation from Jan Joseph School of Management, Bangalore. Ma'am is an expert in all areas of HR and has started her corporate career from HCL as Manager Customer Support for 11 years. Ma'am has also worked with ABC Data Management Services as Senior Manager Business Development, Tech Mahindra as Group Head Resourcing. Ma'am has rich experience in talent acquisition, resource management, internet recruiting, strategic development, and has provided many people opportunity to build their corporate career. Now, I would like to call upon our guest, Mrs. Renuka Krishna, to enlighten us with her words of wisdom. Ma'am, I would like to welcome you to address the gathering.
Use this to change the slide.
Yes, ma'am.
Point it here, point it there. Anyway, okay, all right. Good afternoon, and I stand guilty of standing between you and lunch, so I really apologize for that. I just hope that you are hungry to listen to me also, so in a way it will also ensure that you stay awake. Post-lunch is a very difficult session to normally handle, so I guess this should be slightly easier. I also might have to repeat a lot of points that the earlier speaker spoke, because I think she was extremely eloquent and shared a lot of life lessons, which is also the same topic that I have picked up. I think one of the things that you see as you spend many years in corporate is there are some things that matter more than maybe what you pick up in textbooks. Whatever you pick up in textbooks is extremely important, but I think your gurus in college will share that with you. But as you spend many, many years working, you realize some things, maybe if someone had told you earlier in life, you would have got on to doing it faster, and maybe you had to learn it the hard way. So I think the whole point is to ensure that you learn it faster and know what you can concentrate on. So I want to call this the lessons that I have learned, or lessons that I treasure most. And these are lessons that you pick up from somebody else, somebody senior, could be your family, could be parents, could be bosses, could be mentors, could be industry leaders. It's a lot of gyan, it's a lot of advice. And I read somewhere that advice is the one thing that is very freely available everywhere, because you have no use for it yourself, so you give it away. Unfortunately, or fortunately, that's not always the case. Many of us sometimes tend to use also the advice that we give. So let's take it that maybe I learned a part of it and I am implementing a part of it. So I think the most important thing in life, and when you saw that slide on happiness, which is the core of it all, I think that is the biggest thing in life, and that is have a dream. A dream is something that makes you happy. You have nightmares to make you unhappy, but you have dreams to make you happy. And I would really say that as you are in your second year, you are seniors in your management career, it's very important to have a dream, because otherwise you don't know where you're going. You don't know what you want to do. If your dream is going to be something very concrete, like I want a job with 3 lakhs, I want a job in an MNC, I want a job in a city close to my house, not going to keep you happy very long, none of these dreams. Because what will happen, you will get a 3 lakh job, and 2 days later you will get an email from some other friend from some other college saying he got a 4 lakh job. That's the end of your happiness. Why he got more? I always got better marks. If you say you want to have a job near your home, you'll be sitting at home, but you'll find that your friends are working in exciting jobs, challenging jobs, but you are close to home, but your heart is not fulfilled with what you're doing. So I think it's equally important to look at a dream which is a lot beyond just numbers, quantifiable, and is really something that you like to do. You're all doing MBA. I seriously hope that your dream is the subject that you are specializing in. If you really find HR or the various nuances of HR, or management, general management, working in a corporate, which is very different from maybe painting or singing or dancing or research. Working in a corporate is very different from all this. If all these things excite you, then it's very unfortunate that you've done 2 years of MBA. But if your dream is something which is linked to these 4 subjects, that you have any one of these 4 subjects, operations, systems, marketing, finance, maybe HR, 5 subjects, then I think that's the dream that you need to follow. The second most important lesson is build confidence. Young people today, and all of you are extremely young, we are also extremely young, all of us, even though you might think we are on the wrong side of 30, 40, we are all extremely young at heart. You externally are very confident. You can go into a restaurant, you can go into a movie theater, you can talk with a group, you can do all that. That's confidence in a group. It doesn't mean that you can build confidence in someone else. So when you talk to a friend, is that person confident of you, of your skills? If a friend comes to you and says, I have a problem, I have to make my resume, can you help me? I don't know which company to apply for, can you help me? I don't know what my strengths are, can you help me? Do you have that kind of an attitude? Have you built that kind of confidence in people around you? In fact, when this seminar is happening, is your professor confident enough to say, let's give it to this student, he will run the show excellently? Build confidence, because I think that is the cornerstone of any success. Whether you go into corporate, whether you go into your house, whether you go into a tragedy situation in a family or in a social experience, people need to be confident that you are the person to go to. Build that confidence. And how do you build that? You build that only by networking, by talking to people, by being knowledgeable about whatever you are talking and doing. Very often we talk, for want of any other word, rubbish. We just talk to talk. We make noise. Does what you talk really echo in the other person? Be very careful, because I think that is something that will help people believe that when you talk, it's worth listening to. Surround yourself with the best people. When we were young, we had these quotes which said, show me your books and I will show you who you are. Then we were told, show me your friends, I will show you who you are. What did that mean? Basically, losers will be with losers. Winners will be with winners. If you are a loser, go find some winners and stick with them. You will become a winner. These are contagious things. Your attitude is very contagious. If you are with a group of people who are go-getters, who want to do things, who are entrepreneurs, who are creative, very soon you will also become like that, because that is the kind of mahol you're in. That's the kind of crowd that you grow up with. That's the kind of conversation you hear day in and day out. So it's very important you are with the right people. If you have friends and you find that they are pulling you down, I'm not saying you should dump your friend. You should pull your friend up. If you find that your friends are not doing well in life, I hope you don't become like that and also stop doing well in life, but you pull up that person to also do well in life. Because otherwise, others who watch you will say, you know, he seemed like a nice guy, but he's always hanging around with that fellow who always loses. Those girls are always in trouble and this girl is hanging around with them. She also must be that kind of a girl. Surround yourself with great people, because they will also uplift you automatically, whether it be in college, whether it be at work, whether it be in family, whether it be in social setups. It's important that you are seen and you prefer the company of people who are leaders and winners. Be obsessive about quality, and this is something I think I'm extremely passionate and very, very worried about a lot of young people. We tend to have this chalta hai habit. Everything that we do, we say chalta hai. We are not obsessive about quality. When we come out, we just put on a pair of shoes. We don't check if the shoes are shining. When we comb our hair, we don't check that if it is clean. When we wash our clothes, we don't check that they are absolutely rinki safedi. We are not obsessive about anything we do. I've done my homework, I'll submit it. The last day is tomorrow, submit kar diya. Is it brilliant? Is it the best you can do? It might not be Albert Einstein work, but is it the best your work? Whatever you do, is it the best? When you go out, you might not be able to afford designer clothes, but are you wearing the best that you can afford? Are you looking the best? Are you talking the best? Everything that you do, be obsessive about, because quality shows. quality talks. And other people will say this about you, that he doesn't try very hard. He's very brilliant, but he doesn't work very hard, because they can see there is some quality missing. Everybody doesn't expect everyone to be a Steve Jobs or a Michael Jackson or a Sachin Tendulkar. But you can make out that the person is trying hard, is learning from the other person, and that is enough to make you a leader, to make you popular. So be excessive about quality, especially when you get into work. The way you talk, the way you make your resume, how many spelling mistakes are there? One of the things that I notice, because I'm a recruiter, is the number of CVs that come to me which have spelling mistakes, which have punctuation mistakes. There is a capital missing. The language is very amateur. You wonder, this is an MBA student? This is a person who's done management, and this is the kind of CV that they write? There is no quality in the CV. And the one which is really quality, even if the student is not good, you say, CV is really well written. It's taken a lot of pains to ensure that it is 100% correct. Let's talk to this person. It has at least ensured you a meeting. And that, I think, is what quality is all about, to impress the person in front of you. I think that's very, very important. And sometimes, in the hurry to do things, we tend to forget it. But all of us have to remember that it is noticed. It is noticeable. We buy German cars because they are quality. We buy a Mercedes because it's quality. We watch Sachin Tendulkar bat because it is quality. We don't watch anybody else. We don't go for second best because it is quality. Then why are we not quality? So, yesterday we talked about, our Prime Minister talked about Make in India. I think what we are talking about is quality. What we do in India, can we talk about extreme quality, obsessive quality, and I think that's what this is all about. I'm also going a little fast because I'm standing between lunch. I know I have to let you off at 2, so before all of you faint from hunger, I'll at least, give you some notes. Play to win. Very often, you take part in events, you even do a course, you study for an exam, you submit a paper because it has to be done. Karna hai. It's good to show in your resume. It's good to attend this lecture. But do you play to win? Everybody cannot win. There can be only one winner. Sometimes there are 3 winners, 1, 2, 3. But do you at least try to be there? Do you do things just because you have to do it, or because you really want to ace it? One can come to this seminar, just talk and go. Or does one really want to change someone's life? Do you really want to spend a little effort to talk to students to ensure that they do something with their lives? That is to win. If you can touch even one person's life because of your efforts, do it. And that is playing to win. Everything you do it because you want to reach the top. Otherwise, don't do it. You should have the courage, if your college asks you to do something and you don't see any purpose in it, have the courage to ask your college, why are we doing this? I don't see any use in it. Will it help me? Will it help my character? Will it help me build a better me? If that is the case, then you should take part in it 100%. If it doesn't mean anything to you, then why do you want to do it just for chalta hai? Again, quality will suffer, you will not play to win. So these things are kind of interconnected, and you need to spend effort to ensure that whatever you do the best, be the best. As management graduates, I can't talk to you enough about this. Network, develop mentors and sponsors. Why is this important? Because in today's world, we are a very social world. We are socially linked, we are socially connected. And who you know and what you know is extremely important, because you can learn a lot when you network. Networking is not just collecting visiting cards, knowing people and applying to them for a job. Chances are they will not even pay much attention to you. Why is that? Because an average recruiter today gets about 200 resumes. I get 200 resumes a day. So just because you know my email ID, you're not going to get a job. I get 200 people who know my email ID. What is it going to matter? What is the impact that you have made? How have you built a sponsor? How have you built a mentor? Who is your mentor? What has your mentor taught you? Not just in getting a job, but in your career. If you have a particular skill, has your mentor helped you develop it? If you have a particular quality, has your mentor helped you do that better? What is it about you that your mentor and your sponsor is able to bring out and make better? If people have been leaders, it is because they have had a guru. Everybody, all the great people that we talk about has had a guru. A guru is nothing but a mentor or a sponsor, someone who knows you well enough, who takes care of you to ensure that your career goes ahead. Your mentor could be an uncle, a brother, a father, a professor, the head of your institute, your neighbor, someone who knows you well, who will tell you what you are good at, what are you right for, what is it you should concentrate on. And I think these are important stepping stones, learning stones for you to take your career ahead. Because right now, you're going to have placements, you're going to have companies coming, you're going to have a plethora of jobs available. What job are you going to take? Are you going to take the first job that comes? Or are you going to listen to someone and find out what is the right career for me? What is the right opportunity today to get into? Because opportunities are endless. There is no one thing that you must do because somebody else did it. That's not the only way to succeed. There is a particular way you will succeed. How that will succeed is only if you know yourself better. And if you don't know yourself better, find someone who can tell you, no, you're doing the wrong thing. You think you're bad at finance, but actually you have an excellent head for finance. I always thought you should get into finance. I always thought you should get into a business analyst role because you're very sharp in this. I always thought that you should get into communication because this is what you can do. These are things that mentors and sponsors can help you with. So network and develop these as much as you can. Earlier speaker also spoke about the same point, develop the brand me. Especially in today's world, I think people need to look at you as a go-to person, which is what I talked about right from the beginning. When you build confidence, when you build networks, when you build quality, people say, if I want something, I should go to X. This person will get the job done. If I have a problem, this seminar, something is not working, who should I call? Who is the person people turn to? That is the person who has built the brand me. And every one of you can build a brand you. In some area or the other, not all of you can fix a music system, not all of you can manage the entire seminar, not all of you can, choreograph a dance, but each one of you, there is something that people can look up to for something. Have you done that? Or are you just another person in this 500, 600 people crowd who's just there? Isko bhi bula lete hain. Are you that kind of a person? Or are you the person, if we have a problem, can we go to? How does that happen? That happens because you are constantly talking to people. You're constantly exhibiting your confidence. You're being assertive about quality. You're building yourself as somebody with a particular competency. And I think that is what will make you strong in corporate tomorrow. Because in corporate, when there is a company with 10,000 people, 20,000 people, 1 lakh people, who are the people who get noticed? These are the ones, not the ones who just, chamcha or, go and sit around with the best bosses. No. These are the ones who are obsessive about quality, who have done work and who have talked to people. They might have done the most mistakes. They might have had the maximum failures. But it's not always failure. It is the attempts. It is the brand. It is the obsession about quality. It is how they try, how they work hard that matters. You hear this again and again. But believe me, saying more about it is not enough. You can still say more about it because I think that is what is most important when you are in corporate. For all of you, I want to say, look at your career as building knowledge and skill sets, competencies, and not as a series of jobs. Very often people say, after 2 years, I think I've been here for 2 years, I've learned everything, let me move on. I want another job because they're offering me more. I'm bored of this. There is no challenge. It is not the job that is not challenging. It is you who is not being challenged. And why are you not being challenged? Because you're not building on your skills and competencies. Every job, irrespective of how boring it is, builds some skill, some competency in yourself. It could be handling a bad boss. It could be handling a difficult team. It could be working with a difficult customer. It could be working with a very different skill. Anything, need not be the most latest skill, need not be the most enthusiastic boss. But what are you learning? How are you coming out of that situation and doing better? I think that is what is important. As MBAs, you will get job offers. After 2 years, you might find that I'm bored of this, I want to move on to something else. How do you ensure that you learn something and not just keep on job hopping? Keep on moving around from one job to the other. I think that is very, very important. Most important, you're young only once. A lot of the things that we tell you, all of us speakers, they're all very serious. There is a lot of gyan, there is a lot of advice. But remember, you're young only once. Enjoy yourself, enjoy your life. And we say be happy. Do all the things that you thought you could do because you can take risks now. You can fall, you can get up, your bones will mend fast. You can do a lot of experiments with your life. So you're young only once. Before you get into the rut of responsibility, getting into things, I have to think about this, I have to worry about this. You might have student loans, etc., but your life is ahead of you. You can work extremely hard, you can do changes, you can jump. Do that. Don't get worried about what will I do in this job, what will happen to my future, what will happen to my career, what will happen 20 years down the line. Your career is 30 years. If something goes wrong in year 1, year 2, doesn't matter. There are another 28 years to clear it up. So don't get worried about what is there right in front of you. Enjoy your life right now. Be happy right now doing whatever you do. Whether it be the first job, which is in a company which is not exciting, a location not as exciting, not what you wanted. Enjoy it because it will not really make any difference. If you ask most of us who have spent 20, 30 years in corporate, what we did in our first jobs, it didn't seem like a mistake. We're doing fine now. Nothing looked wrong. At that time, maybe it looked wrong, but nothing looks wrong now. Because everything has been learning, competency, skill building, etc. So be young and enjoy yourself. Impact people's lives. And I think this is a roundabout way of talking about corporate social responsibility. But whatever you do, do things that matter to people. Don't do things that matter to yourself. Because when you help someone else, you help yourself. I think all of you know enough about CSR, so I won't really spend much time about it. But whatever you do, ensure that you are helping people, you work as a team, you support others, and you help other people say that, you know, I'm what I am because of so-and-so. So-and-so was my mentor, so-and-so was my... You should be that so-and-so, you should be that mentor, you should be that leader who helps someone. So do that right through your career. It's never too late. You don't have to be 45 years old to do it. You can do it even when you're 15 years old. Again, play to win, I said that. But most importantly, build on fundamental values and trust the invisible force. Whatever happens to you, whether you believe in God, whether you don't believe in God, whether you believe in nature, remember, whatever happens to you, there is an invisible force which will make things work. Trust in that, because whatever happens to you might look like the worst that happened today, but you will find 3 years down the line, thank God that happened. I would not be doing this if it wasn't for that. So trust the invisible force and believe that whatever happens to you will just make you stronger and better, because that is always true. You will not get the first job interview that you attend. You will not get the first job that you apply to. You might not get the second, you might not get the third. Don't lose heart, because there is something waiting for you. Every one of us has something waiting for us. So don't get disappointed. You're young. Many opportunities will come to do whatever you dream of. And have faith in that and go ahead. So I kind of ran through this because I was running short of time. If permitted, I can take a couple of questions.
Thank you, ma'am. Now the house is open for questions.
I know you want to have lunch, so if you want to speed it up, you can always email your questions also later.
Good afternoon, ma'am. Ma'am here.
Left, right? Right here, okay.
Ma'am, as you said, develop a brand me. So ma'am, what amongst knowledge, skill and attitude would serve most in developing that brand?
I don't think there is one such thing which will develop the brand you, knowledge, skills and attitude. But of the three, I would give attitude the maximum weightage. You can't know everything. You can't be skilled at everything. There are going to be things you don't know. There are going to be skills you don't have. But if you have the attitude to pick up the knowledge and the skill, you will pick it up. Most of us who have been in corporate for many years, we are not doing the job that we were educated for. I did commerce and I did marketing. I'm in HR now. I'm not educated. I neither have the skill or the competency by education, but you have the attitude, the aptitude to learn, and therefore you are doing the job. So I think that's most important.
Of girl students here,
Yes.
and in this country we are talking about women's safety, security, and all the things. How is the corporate treating them?
I think as corporates, we have a number of policies basically to ensure women's safety. So you do read about what the government says about, transport and working late and shifts and etc. So we do maintain all that. In addition to that, we specifically encourage more and more women to go and learn self-defense. I think that is one thing that we have grossly neglected. That I personally feel that right from the age of 3 or 4, girls should be taught how to defend themselves, because I think that gives you a lot of confidence. Having said that, we had a meeting with the police commissioner some time ago about corporate safety. And one of the things they said was that women also need to learn that they have to keep themselves safe. If your college gets over at 10 in the night and you go and stand on the highway and expect a bus to come and take you safe, I'm not saying that it's wrong, but I also think that you have to be careful. Similarly, if you decide to, get into a cab alone with 2 other people, you have to also take care of yourself. So a lot of education is given to women, especially young people who come in saying that, don't be overconfident. Be confident, but don't be overconfident. We don't expect you to be treated differently because we don't treat you differently. We will put certain norms in place. For example, if there is a team and there are 7, 8 boys, we will ensure that there are at least 2, 3 girls in the team, not just 1 girl. Some kind of safety measures are given. But I think a lot of it also depends on women themselves to ensure that, they keep themselves safe, because I think ultimately you are your best defense.
Madam, can we say that women are, ये सब बोलने वाली बात है empowerment, but only as far as knowledge and competency is concerned, real competency and knowledge is concerned. Where do you put men and women in the corporate climate?
So I would not want to get beaten up by all your men by sounding biased, but frankly speaking, when we take women and when we recruit people at straight from campus, we have an equal ratio. We have 50% men, we have 50% women. So there is equality. They come in, performance is extremely good. In fact, there are some projects where they prefer women because they say that there is a lot of discipline. Men tend to get distracted. They have external distractions. Women normally tend not to have external distractions, so they work harder. I'm not saying all men, maybe not the Balaji men, but some of the other men have those distractions. But having said that, what happens is after some time, maybe when they come to the age of 30, women tend to take breaks. They tend to take breaks for personal reasons, for family reasons, and that can affect how they proceed in their career. I think, like the earlier speaker said, it's very important that you decide what is important to you. It's not a call between career is more important than family or career is more important than motherhood. That's not the call. I think the call is how much of support am I going to get from the family, and based on that support, what career choice I make. So again, it's important for women to take that decision themselves.
Now, one survey says, madam, only 30% of the Indian women are connected to internet. 30% vis-a-vis men. That means if the men are 100, they are 30%. What is your comment on this?
I think that
Is connecting to internet is good or it is not okay? They are saving the time, or what is the indication? Only 30%. Yesterday I was seeing YouTube. I went Bombay. There I see when advertisement comes, only 30% of the women are connected to internet. Now, any significance in this, madam?
So it depends what the men are doing on internet. It does not necessarily mean that all the men who are connected are doing worthwhile, educational or growing stuff. 30% of women, maybe they are doing the right stuff. But need not mean that 100% of the men. There are so many things you can do on the internet which you need not be doing.
No, technology.
But you are
madam.
still doing it.
No, my meaning, my interpreter was technology. Technology, internet is a technology. To enhance the knowledge.
So what are you doing on technology, sir? On internet, you could be on YouTube, you could be watching sites which are not worth seeing, you could be on email, you could be chatting. Not really necessary to grow yourself.
No, it
Women
is a-
do all those things better face to face, I think.
Sir, want to say something? Yeah. Yeah.
So I want all the girls to be on my side, huh?
So,
Sir, at least I hope you are on my side. Sir.
sir, I am neither on your side nor on the VIP side. I'm on all of them side because I'm here. So I'm with all of you. Now, having said that, sir, why I stood up? Sir, first thing about the survey. My request to you and all in the students, don't be misled by the so-called surveys. Because every survey depends on where it is done, when it is done, who are the target population they have achieved or they have done. So most of the surveys may,
This is a Google survey.
sir, anything. Sir, it can be anything. It can be anything. Now, for example, I can have a survey conducted by Association CMI and Balaji here, putting a question, how many of the girls are using Facebook or Twitter or so, how many boys, and then I will go to the world, as per the survey of CMI, only 30% use so and so. That is the first problem, sir. And all the surveys, they depend upon the number of customers they have taken, how much they have taken. It's a real, genuine problem. And that is why the problem also comes up in the case of surveys for elections also. Same problem. So about the women and men. My experience of my 48,000 members and world shows, if given a choice, most of them prefer women for the reasons as said by our VIP. First point about the women's safety also. I have a question with the society. Why do you say women's society? Sorry, why do you say women's safety? Why not the men's safety? Why not? I mean, the point I'm telling is, it is not the women's safety, the safety of all of us as a whole. Why do you differentiate? We are treating all of them equal. Both are same. The risk if you go in the car alone can happen to both of us, of course to women, slightly more. Thank you.
No, I was asking madam, it's a very enriched career, so that from her point of view, for the young students, otherwise madam, ऐसा नहीं है.
So
देखिए, I introduced 50% reservation for women empowerment. For the first, I am the first man in this country, for the last 15 years, we are enforcing that. Because that is why you see 50% of them here. But just for, out of academic curiosity, that's, yeah.
So I also agree that younger population, there are more women, but as age increases, there would be less women because there is less use. They are not, many of them of the earlier generation would not be accessing computers, etc. So like you rightly said, it depends on the target pool. But if you do a survey of all these, you'll find 100% of the women are on the internet because everybody is technologically advanced.
Any more questions? Okay.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, ma'am, for such an inspiring speech.